Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Friday to you and your family. We're looking at Dogecoin here, helping understand, what's going to happen next. Is it going to continue higher, or are we going to just get rejected at this key level resistance at 8 cents? We're going to find out, hopefully, and much more. It is doing exactly what we kind of expected yesterday, but obviously we want to look at some smaller time frames to identify. Maybe draw out some Fibonacci retracement levels on a shorter time frame to kind of see what specific areas we have that we're working with. Okay, so we'll look at that and much more. Bear in mind too, if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, I've got a website where you can register to become a better trader. I've got private videos teaching you everything I know, about 18 years of experience. We've got signals and a great community too, where we took some nice profits, about 33% from Bitcoin here recently and 60% from Ethereum. That was a couple of days ago, of course, because the market hasn't been fantastic. So you kind of got to pick your battles, right? But good news is a lot of our members are just kicking some serious tail. So keep up the good work, guys. Mechanical Investor doing really awesome here recently. These may not seem like large gains, but it's important to maximize your potential and to obviously do what you can, right? We got to celebrate the wins and learn from our losses. We're also using Bitget, of course. Pretty much my entire community is using that because we have a $10,000 prize pool monthly. Be sure to check that out in your own time, of course, but link in the description below. If you use that link, you'll qualify for $10,000 USDT. I think there's even a sign-on bonus there, but generally speaking, phenomenal exchange, absolutely worth using if you consider that. If you are in the States, of course, you will need a VPN for it. So we're looking at 3 extra months free if you go ahead and register with ExpressVPN. Again, my link in the description below. I partner with these guys. It's cool. I've been using them for years, and they reached out to ask if it's something they want to I want to consider doing. I was like, heck yes, awesome VPN. So be sure to use that if you're considering it. Even if you're not going to use Bitget, just VPN is important to use when you're trading crypto or just in general to secure your privacy. All right. So that being said, Dogecoin here is kind of as follows. So we got the higher lows we talked about yesterday. We'll look at that in smaller time frames. We got that bounce off of 30 on the RSI. Kind of discussed how important that is, and it's past what it does in most cases when it bounces off that level. Furthermore, we've got this here still tapering off for the MACD, where we're starting to lose that momentum to the downside. Okay, so all positive stuff here in the general sense of things. Okay, so how much higher could it go? Well, honestly, you never truly know because Dogecoin can take off at any given time. But for the most part, if we take a look at its history, there's usually a calm before the storm. Okay, and right now we're not quite there yet because, of course, we're still, tapering off to the downside, and at this point we're making higher lows on the smaller time frames. That needs to translate into larger time frames before we can have any sense of security. But again, at this point here, we've got some really positive stuff. If we take a look, we can see the 200-day SMA working as a key level support there, effectively holding the price action in place. Okay, so again, yes, it closed below and then the next day it just bounced right back. That happens sometimes. It's never 100% foolproof. But again, simple moving averages, especially the 200, will commonly work as support levels. Bear this in mind too, the 50 is working its way down, and oftentimes that can be considered a death cross, whereas the price action will get rejected by the 50 and come down below the 200. Not saying that's going to happen, we're a long ways away from that, but that is just something to be mindful of. Again, it's kind of more of an anomaly. I don't say those things aren't 100% consistent, but it's similar to a MACD where you have that convergence of moving averages, whereas that's a simple moving average versus an exponential. Taking a look at the 4-hour though, what we want to kind of look at here is some obvious things here. We're up above the 20-day SMA, not super important, kind of getting rejected by the 50 though, so keep that in mind. But bear in mind here as well, we are also establishing higher lows still. Okay, so as long as this next low isn't lower than just say 0.754 or 7.4 cents rather, then we should be in pretty good shape. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at there on the 4-hour, not terrible. We're actually looking more positive than negative because we are over 50 on the RSI. Kind of giving us that reiteration that we're above a support level. So if you see how it kind of rejected out here and the price came back down, that's creating a support level at this level. In fact, if we take a look here at this Fibonacci retracement, go from the most recent high to the most recent low, we'll be able to see that exactly a level that we can, it's hard to miss. If you see that level there, it's obviously getting, using that as either support or resistance. Because look at this, price comes up here, gets rejected, comes down, bounces, comes up here, of course, stops out, comes down, wicks all the way down to that same previous resistance level, now working as a support, and the price goes higher. Okay, so again, that's generally how things work when you're establishing higher lows and lower highs. You effectively want to have this situation where these higher lows are working as support levels. So every time it comes down to bounce, it was the most recent high. That's essentially where it's at. So a lot of times you can put your stop losses just below depending on your trading style, and that can effectively keep you in a fairly safe range. All right, so again, looking fairly decent for Dogecoin. The 4-hour looks to me more positive than negative, and even though the daily isn't fantastic, it's still slightly more positive too. Okay, so again, we don't have any like definitive lines in the sand like, oh gosh, this is going to explode, but we definitely have some really positive factors here, specifically on the 1 hour, if I recall from yesterday too. Let's take a look at that. So TD sequential, when we looked at this before, of course, we are approaching a 9, but we weren't quite there yet. I think we were up here in this range. So we came up to a 9, went a little bit further in overtime, and then consolidated and retraced to bounce off of that support level there at 0.618. Now keep in mind, 0.618 is a very strong Fibonacci retracement level, so it makes perfect sense that the price action bounced off of that. But look at that, it comes down, bounces, and now we're coming up to a 1. So we have hypothetically 8 to 12 more hours of continuation of the upside based on this current trend. So it seems likely that Doge will continue to increase based on previous patterns here, and the fact that even though, yes, we did overextend ourselves here recently, one single overextension on the hourly is not a big deal. If you see that on just say the 4-hour or the daily, that's a different story altogether. In fact, taking a look at the daily just to kind of get perspective, we are extremely overextended to the downside, so it makes a lot more sense for the price to come up. Furthermore, here, we pass these levels, it's hard to say, those are strong resistance ranges, but for the moment, I do think it's probable that if we break 8 cents, that 8.6 and 9.1 will be very likely targets. Okay, so again, based on overextension here, we're still in good shape. We're still in our infant stages, if you will, to the upside. Furthermore, with Ichimoku Cloud, this is something that's kind of interesting. And when I say interesting, it means that if you're going to take a long position right now, you want to be cautious and careful, considering the fact the lagging span is almost intersected. When that intersects with the price action, it really just kind of tells you that this momentous trend is slowing itself down, and there is potential for a pullback. All right. So again, we've already identified we're overextended to the upside in the recent past. So what will cause us to continue higher? Well, the good news is we have the momentum, for lack of better terms, the conversion lines above the baseline. We've also got the price above the cloud as well, which is fantastic. So all in all, we're looking fairly decent here in the sense of things here. And to me, that's more positive once again than negative, because we've got a lot of support levels right below the price action. Okay, so even though this is kind of saying that, hey, you should go ahead and take some profits on your long position if you haven't already, maybe consider trimming or closing your position. I don't recommend necessarily doing that at this point. I feel like this strong bounce off of this 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level at 7.6 was a pretty strong indication. Okay, so I think that we should be good to go for further upside. It just seems very probable at this point. Okay. So again, looking overall very, very decent here for Dogecoin. I would say if we're going to go with a statistical probability, it's like a 70% likelihood of the price going up, then it would go down. Keep in mind, natural, there's a lot of things that are factoring in here too. You got to keep in mind, traditional markets are kind of drawing dead, and even Bitcoin is up a little bit, but not a tremendous amount. It ramped up just before yesterday's close. So in all reality, we're not in like a phenomenal position, but it's also much better than the average coin right now. I think Dogecoin and Terra Classic are both showing signs that they want to continue to improve, where a lot of other coins are kind of drawing dead, waiting for Bitcoin to make a move. So that's kind of where we're at there. I think Dogecoin does have tremendous potential here. Much more likelihood of further upside than downside. All right. Now, again, if you learned something here today, obviously comment below. Let me know. I like to hear that feedback. But furthermore, if you want to become a better trader, again, look forward to working with you. We interact on a daily basis. CryptoCash.tech is the site, link down below. And be sure to use Bitget and ExpressVPN if you're not already using it. Awesome, awesome combination. I look forward to working with you. Once again, have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for your time.